하나, 둘, 셋. 할로! 안녕하세요. 오늘은 제 호주인 남자친구랑 함께하는 국제 커플 Q&A 겸 연애 상담을 한번 해보겠습니다. This was one of the top comments. How do you figure it out language barrier? And even if Sana speak really good English, dating with native speaker is like you had to be like a native level. I used to be a working holder, so that's why people say like I think it's more difficult to get a job there than dating. And then there's another weak comment on that. I'm dating with native speaker. It's more easier than working in the cafe. And when you are really, really angry and you can't think of like English or you can't speak properly, do you use papago when you fight? Or you can just speak Korean to him. I know there are lots of people make boyfriend or girlfriend when they can't speak English properly or they can't communicate well. But if they ask my opinion, personally, I can't do that. I can't love someone that I don't know. You know what I mean? Like for me, conversation, communication is really, really important. I can't even make friends if I can't understand them. Like for me, like I want to know who they are. I want to know what they think. I want to know what they value in their life or everything. I don't want you to like me because I'm pretty. I'm not saying it's wrong. Like other people do that.
I mean, I'm happy to say I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
It really is dangerous. Like,
don't get offended by we're speaking.
Everyone has their own opinion.
Yeah.
If you don't like what we say, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't have fun, but I don't think you can
deeply love.
You shouldn't tell yourself you're in a relationship with someone that you don't know or understand.
It's easier than working in a cafe. That means your conversation with your partner is not different to you speaking to your customer at the cafe. You know what I mean? Like same level, like small talk.
I think when they say, when that person says easier, like, because this is what I was going to say about like the whole fighting and everything like that. The difference between work is all your interactions with everyone, they're a short-term couple of moments. You can learn a short-term couple of moments very easily, but if you are with the right person, you have longer than a couple of moments. So any issues that you have or any misunderstandings, if it's the right person, you will have enough time to figure that out. If someone truly cares about you, a language barrier won't be enough for them to stop trying. But once you talk with each other enough, there are enough ways to figure out how to explain yourself. And if one of you is a native speaker in the language that you converse mainly in, that native speaker, you should understand your own language enough to be able to try to figure out what word it is they're trying to say, like having to fill out what word goes in the middle of this sentence, you know, like blank.
Yeah, so if you're fluent, then you are in the position that you can help them.
Because if you can't do that or don't want to do that, well, that's not really a relationship. If you don't care whether you can understand them or not, well...
But I'm just gonna give them a really good tip that when we fight, you know, like even in Korean, like when you fight with someone, like all the things you want to say in like stay in your head, like mixed up everything. So of course for me, fighting in English is difficult. So we had like some issues like when we fought, and then now how we figured out is we just had break. And then we write down. He sometimes write down on the paper, and I wrote in like text message. And then it's more easy for me to figure out why I was angry or what I want to say.
Yeah.
And then also when I read his, then I finally understand what we missed.
Yeah, like you can take more time to interpret it.
It's also really good for to not get too emotional. Sometimes you say something that you didn't want to say, but when you have like little break and then when you write down,
you communicate instead of argue.
Yeah.
At the start, it is difficult sometimes to be able to stop and move away, but the more you keep trying to do it, the easier it becomes, and then eventually, like, you get so used to trying to explain things in a civil way that the arguing really kind of slows down and it becomes more civil conversations.
But we both disagree that you can love someone that you can't communicate. Yeah. Do you think it's possible to stay virgin when you have like foreign boyfriend?
In my experience, it usually just depends on people's religion.
Yeah, I think
so. If they care a lot about their faith, but they married other people that were like that as well.
But usually these people get married very early age, right?
9 times out of 10, yeah. Like usually before like
25.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
definitely. Usually, I was gonna say it's usually before like 22.
Yeah.
It's usually like after school and a few years after that.
Yeah.
It would be a mission.
Especially when they come here after like middle 20, it's more difficult. When you come here, like when you're fresh 18, then there are some people still left.
For what I can see in my culture, there's a lot less religious people like than there used to be.
How do you think of male friends and female friends and like what they can do together?
My feelings are strongly against, but there are exceptions. I think it really depends on the person you're in a relationship with, how they feel about it, and then it depends on the type of friendships you have with people. But I will say something that I don't think is cool is new friendships.
People you met before your partner.
Yeah, like that's what
after.
Yeah, again, depending on the friendship, a lot of people have different friendships. New friendships when you're in a relationship. In my opinion, your partner is supposed to be your best friend of the opposite sex. Like they're the one that like you can talk to about stuff and things like that. And if you can't talk to them about things, well, what are you talking to your other friends about?
He has one female friend, so I have no issues that him going out dinner.
I mean, and we don't do that.
Also, he understands my male friends if it's like before him and then like my like long friendship. When you get older, you don't really have female friends and male friends left because they all get married. Of course, nowadays some people don't get married, but anyways, your life keep changing and changing. So when you're in school, of course, we go to the same school in the same like friends group in the same pub or whatever. But when you get older, you get a job and you move to some other city, like you don't really have like
the same
connection left, especially when they are female friends or male friends. It's more difficult.
When you're older as well, it's hard to know who's like single and not single. Sometimes it's hard to know what people's intentions are. Because sometimes people are really nice and then you're like, hang on a minute, you're being too nice.
Yeah, I had that experience too.
Yeah, and then it puts you in a sticky situation. And it's like,
even if we are fine with my male friends, their partner wouldn't like me. Like, of course, we can hang out together.
Like, you know, you get along with people at work. Cool, you have to go to work, whatever. But like personal hanging out time, that's where it's like, well, why do you need friends like that?
You know, like every culture have different popular girl appearance.
Yeah.
So like in Korea, very skinny and very pale skin and long straight hair, something like that. Or baby face with really big eyes. Do you know what 애교 is? So 애교 is like not 애교. But 애교 is like people intentionally trying to be cute, but you guys don't have the words for it. K culture is popular now, so people even in other countries say it as 애교. Usually these 애교 girls are really popular. You know, when you saw some Korean TV show, you said like why they act like baby. They asked me what's the popular girl type in here, popular guy type in here. And then another similar question. Apparently, I heard that one K-pop girl is really popular in other countries, popular Asian looking, she said. I'm not going to tell them who she is because I don't want to talk about her appearance. She is cute baby face girl. Everyone has their own type. You know about Mr. Ma?
No, I like
Mr. Ma. So someone likes...
He's a cool dude.
Someone likes Mr. Ma, but someone likes K-pop idol looking. But what I'm saying is, just in general. I think in USA or in like Western culture, who likes this type of girl considered as like K-pop fanboys or like anime boys.
I'd just say probably anime. An attractive woman is an attractive woman. Just period. The reason I would say she's probably popular in America is people within this community, the anime community, would have made her so big in that community that it started popping up to everyone.
I think she is cute and pretty, but she is not the type of popular girl in Western culture. She is not the stereotype. So like the stereotype of popular girl in Western culture is the girls in the dating show. Like if you watch like Too Hot to Handle or like...
pretty much. I mean, now they cover like all spectrums.
For high school kids, she's popular type. Usually like when guys younger, they prefer kids or like this girl. After 18, in this culture, guys prefer sexy girl. medicine beer. In here, cute 애교 is not flirting.
No.
Flirting is like this.
If you're looking at the Australian stereotype, it's usually like tall, thin, like big boobs, big bum, and yeah.
And for guys, in Korea, 90% girls doesn't like beard and mustache. But in here, girls love guys having beard and mustache.
And again, like there are people that don't like that and just like a clean shaven look, but what the male stereotype is like a man's man, a manly guy.
Like, more masculine.
Yeah.
The easiest way is just watch one of like dating show in Western culture. Like,
they'll have a beard, very cut, very sharp, or they'll have like a long, very
slender type guys is more popular in Korea.
Yeah, than like bulky guys.
Yeah, but then bulky guy. Of course, even in here, when people see Korean cute girl type or Korean pretty boys type, people think that he looks pretty or she looks cute. But people don't really attract in the like a sexual way.
Like good-looking people are good-looking people everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just not what people necessarily like, for lack of a better term, like fantasize about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My partner has no Asian friends in his friends group, so I'm the only one Asian, and I feel awkward in his friends group. So what should I do? She said. But for me, in his friends group, I'm the only Asian. If I feel awkward, I don't think it's not because I'm Asian, because like it's his friends group. So of course they are really close to each other. And
and the other thing is like, if it's Australian you're talking about, I'm not so much for like 40-year-olds and above. I don't know how old you guys are. If they're around like 35 or under, they would have been going to school with everyone. Australia is very
multicultural.
For the most part, like everyone has been to school with and most likely friends with almost every single race. Like, don't get me wrong, you're still gonna have rude people everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, there's always terrible people. In most other countries around the world, in like Asian or Middle Eastern or all these parts around the world, you guys still don't have as much multiculturalism as we do. So I think it's pretty understandable that you guys would feel much different in that situation than, say, how we would.
If they didn't say anything like racism or to you, then maybe you feel that way because, as he said, like we never grow up in multicultural in Korea.
It's not.
Yeah, so but racism is unacceptable. Also, it's on your partner behave too, even if it's something sketchy happen, or if someone exclude you in the conversation or kind of look down at you or something, then your partner had to handle that.
You also need to stand up for yourself as well.
What we are saying is there are some bad people in Korea, but that's not a normal thing. People ask like, would you be my girlfriend or boyfriend? Otherwise, how do you know you are in a relationship or not?
That's tough nowadays.
Yeah. Now it's really debatable topic even in here.
I mean, this is why I was saying it's also very important to understand the person that you like and who they are. And what they are saying is nowadays there's lots of people that just pretend about everything and just like go and do whatever in their life.
Usually people ask you like,
are you seeing other people or like, are you talking to other people or are you just talking to me?
If they introduce you as girlfriend or boyfriend to their friends or to family, then you would know.
Yeah, if they introduce you as that, for sure.
I saw one of Instagram videos. It was street interview, and then, are you guys a couple? Girl said no, and then boy said yes. Or they say yes, and ask again like, how long have you been together? And then one say a month, and then the other say 6 months. So that's a difficult issue. But you should be just open up with the guy you talk to. When you are afraid to ask what we are, then you're not in a relationship usually.
There is also never anything wrong with just asking. And you want that person to know how you feel. There is 0 point sitting there like, one day he will say that he likes me too. Just say, hey, I want to be exclusive with you. I want to date you. Is that something you want? And if they say no, Bob's your uncle.
In Korea, we have the step. You hold your hand first, and then you cuddle, and then you ask. But in here, usually it's opposite. You can't say that you are in a relationship, even if you have sex. But if you hold their hands in public, and then you have like proper dates very often, then usually that's relationship.
It's usually more like public things. If you're doing public things, and social media is kind of a big one too. And also I think that's a good way to communicate to people as well that you're more thinking of them as a partner is if you start posting them on your social media and asking like, oh, is it okay if I post this photo? You know, you are still going to find douchebags everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Both girls, both guys. You're going to find girls that pretend you're the only person they've ever loved. You're going to find guys that pretend you're the only person they've ever loved. Sometimes shit happens. And you have to be aware of that and ready for that.
I live in UK and I have a guy, but not boyfriend. And he is 2 years younger than me, studying Japanese for 3 years himself. And he wants to live in Japan, go to working holiday for a year next year. And I'm going back to Korea August. And of course, Korea and Japan is really close to each other, but it's not same country. So it's going to be long distance. And he has yellow fever. So I'm worried, like, if he's gonna find a girl in Japan. I've been with few guys in UK, and then finally I found a guy pretty good, like I like. So what should I do? So do you want to answer first? I'm gonna answer first.
I don't even know if I should answer this. I don't know if it'll be fair, but you go.
Okay. I know some people like Asian looking, or some people like black girls looking, Latinos looking. But if you call it yellow fever, then they like specific race. I wouldn't date a guy who has yellow fever. I don't want them to like me because I'm Asian.
Or have a certain expectation of
that's
you
the
and how to
reason.
behave.
Yeah, that's the reason. If they like someone because they're Asian or because they're black, because they're Latina, then they have the expectation in their head.
Well,
Asian should look this way. Asian behave in this way.
Yeah.
I hate that because everyone has different personality. Of course, we have some similar facial features, each race, but still, like, the reason you worried about if he's gonna find a girl in Japan is...
You think he will?
As you said, he has Asian fever. So for him, other Asian is not much different. He can date you or can date other Asian because he likes someone based on their race, not based on who they are.
Yeah, they're like the most broad spectrum of ideas.
Like, of course, he has some ties in Asian groups, but still, it's based on race.
If you aspire to date someone of a certain race or a certain culture, you've never been to that place, you've never lived there, you haven't experienced it, you didn't grow up there, like, you're not doing anything different than people with yellow fever. Like, it's... You need to understand and think for yourself personally. Would you do that personally? Would you just accept that, oh, anybody in the world is okay as long as they look like that? If you wouldn't accept that for yourself, don't accept that from someone else.
There are many girls has fantasy of white guy. That's why people fall for wrong people. Because they think that, like, all white guy is a good guy. Because they're white. So they... accept whatever, ignore all the red flags, and then they accept whatever they do because they're like, oh, but I'm still dating with foreign guy.
Culture difference.
If you are Korean and if you don't want to date Korean, or if you want to date Korean, it's understandable because it's your people. You know the culture. You can figure it out who is good person or who is bad person.
You can be attracted to people. No one's saying you can't. You can have attractions. It's okay for you to have like feelings of these things, but you don't then just date someone because of an attraction.
I'm not dating with him because he's white.
If you're worried about him in Japan, I probably wouldn't pursue things.
There are so many people ask me about like a long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Especially in different countries, is not easy at all. So you can't really get through it if you don't truly love each other. It's not a normal date you think of. The most important thing is how much you love each other. And the second is money. And third is time. You have to have all three.
I think like long distance relationships is a great test for. I would like to see like, is this person going to be the one or not? Like,
could
it's
be,
not easy.
It's not.
Like,
it's never been easy.
No, but all the things that you learn throughout it, the realizations you have while doing it, like nothing can change that. Like the skills that you learn for communication, argument, like resolution, spending time together, everything. Like there is no measure for how many things you learn while in a long distance relationship, but there is also no measure for how difficult it can be. If you don't think you can make it through a long distance relationship, I wouldn't suggest then trying to convince that person not to go long distance with you, because if you know you won't make it through that, Either you not going or them coming with you or whatever the situation is, isn't going to change the fact that you didn't think you could make it if they weren't there. You're going overseas, it's going to be so difficult. And then they're like, oh, I don't know if like this long distance will work. I think it's important that they then don't turn down this opportunity to stay back with them. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
if you don't think you can make it, you still need to move forward.
You
can't be like, oh, well, maybe if I don't go, I can make this work. Because if it's not, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. If you want to go overseas for study, if your partner stop you going because he's worried about long distance relationship,
that means it's not strong enough.
Then they don't love it enough. No one likes long distance relationship.
Yeah.
But the reason we do long distance relationship is we don't have any options.
Yeah.
We don't have option of breaking up.
Yeah.
We never thought of breaking up. Because like if you truly love each other in a long distance relationship, you will put your all effort to make money and time. How do we figure it out like back and forth to between Australia and Korea? But to be honest, it's more easier than when I live in Canada. Korea and Australia doesn't have time difference.
Yeah, it's
and
like
then,
1 hour.
And flight is 10 hours. And it's way cheaper than Australia to Canada.
Yeah.
Time differences? Yeah, so when he wake up, I go to bed. When I wake up, he go to bed. So it was really, really difficult. But we went through all these things for a year. So now I live in Korea and he lives in Australia and I go back and forth. It's not that difficult. How often do you guys talk? Like through phone?
Yeah.
In Korea, if you don't answer your partner's text message, usually like 4 hours, then people's gonna be like, you don't have like a minute to reply to me for the last 4 hours, like something like that.
Why do you need that much stress in your life?
Not everyone, but like it's very normal. Yeah, it's very normal in Korea. But for me, even as I'm Korean, I thought it was too much. When we started seeing each other, one day we decided to meet on Friday. He asked me like, what time do you want to see me on Friday? He sent me a message on Monday. And then I answered to him like Wednesday. And then I sent to him that like, oh, I'm sorry, I was really busy because at the time I had like 2-3 jobs. That's okay. You can answer me whenever you want and then whenever you can. He said that to me. So I was like, oh, this guy is good. Because I didn't say to him. It surprised me. Of course, it's not a good thing that I didn't answer for 2 days. But
I don't think it's a bad thing either.
If we're going to see Friday, I thought that it's okay to answer Wednesday.
One of the biggest things that annoys me as an individual is when you're doing something with people and they are just on their phone the whole time, just talking to people. Like, why'd you come here? What are you doing?
When you get older,
when you're not a teenager.
Yeah, you don't really text too much. I don't know. I am like that. I don't even talk too much on the phone with my friends as well. We don't text much, but we always call before we go to bed. Or when we wake up. So I think 1 call in a day is enough for us. And then we sometimes text that like, oh, I just finished work and I got home, so you can call me whenever.
You should let your partner know what you're doing. Like if you're going out with your friends, hey, like I'm going to go out with my friends for a couple of hours, I'll text you when I get home. That's how our relationship works. Like if I am at a friend's house and I said I'm only going to stay till 8 o'clock. And then if I stay later, like I'm going to tell her what I'm doing.
If it's emergency, just call them.
Oh, yeah.
Like for us, text is never be emergency. If I need something answered right now, then I can call him. Yeah. And he always answer. Yeah, but it's just what you like.
Yeah, everyone's different. There are some people that want to talk all the time and that enjoy small talk. If you're with someone and you constantly argue because they want you to talk more, you need to accept that you guys don't communicate the same way. And it doesn't mean you can't really like them or love them or whatever. It's not working the way you want it to, and you have to find a solution to that. Either fix it or move on. And with like most of these questions, there's no one right answer. There is only how you feel about the situation. Have I ever come out in barefoot for a day?
Yeah. I thought this question was really funny. Australia is really, really famous for barefoot. Can go out like for grocery shopping in barefoot or driving in barefoot. It's just normal Australian culture. But of course, people don't go dates without shoes.
I will say thongs actually do have dress codes for a lot of restaurants and stuff that specifically state we can't be barefoot or wear thongs.
Yes.
Otherwise everyone does it.
아무래도 끝내야 될 것 같아요. 지금 질문이 너무 많이 와가지고 거의 2시간을 촬영을 했거든요. 이때 못했던 답변들 그리고 뭐 또 새로 받을 수도 있고 또 다른 영상 한번 만들어 보도록 할게요. 여러분들이 좋아하신다면, 이번 영상도 재밌게 봐주셨다면 구독, 좋아요, 댓글, 알람 설정, 멤버십 가입까지 부탁드려요. 안녕.